Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about this preseason game, and I've been thinking about a lot of specific aspects of it, and we have some insider information. My chair is on my microphone cord, and I'm freaking out. We're fine. Everything's fine. How are you? Okay. We've got some insider information that might lead you to believe that these games are going to look like a little bit of a mess, these preseason games, and that is by design to hold all our cards close to the vest. But I've done some research specifically on the penalties because there felt like there was a lot of penalties going against the Raiders in that first preseason game. So if you'll take a journey with me here, let me move my face to right about here. I have is that the right way to say that? I have acquired a graph that shows the Seattle Seahawks penalty rankings from 2010 to 2023 under head coach Pete Carroll. So if they're higher up here, like right here it's 2013, 2014, they're number one, that means they were the most penalized team in the league. In 2021, they were the least penalized team in the league. So you see there's a downward trend here from 17 to 21, but typically they're pretty high penalized, the Seahawks were. In 2011, they were second. 13 and 14, they were first. 17, they were first. I mean, they're in the top five pretty consistently, sometimes in the middle, ranging down here. Again, 18, 19, and 20, they started to plummet a little bit penalty-wise. But if you look at the years 2013 and 2014, where they were the most penalized team in the league, those are the years that they won the Super Bowl and went back to the second one. And the reason why I wanted to find that graph and talk a little bit about the penalties here right in the beginning is because I do think we're going to gather up a lot of penalties this year. And the reason that is because we're going to play a lot of young guys, especially at the cornerback positions. I would imagine the style of football that Pete Carroll likes to play is one of hard-nosed physicality, and the more the rules change to favor the offensive players, the more these first and second year lanky, physical, wingspan type corners are going to get called for different penalties. So I would say specifically in the beginning of the season, be on the lookout for us getting called for a lot of illegal contact and pass interference and holding and things of that nature. Also, when you've got young guys on the offensive line like JPJ and DJ Glaze and you've got continuity to build there, you might have some holding calls, you might have some illegal procedures, you might have some false starts. And that's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to deal with Pete Carroll committing to playing these young guys. So I think Geno Smith is going to be huge for us in terms of minimizing the penalties pre-snap on offense, but on defense is going to be a lot of cross your fingers and hope that they don't get called as much as they might consistently get called. With all that being said, we are now a couple days removed from that preseason game, and I was watching a couple Raider podcasts, and one in particular with Hondo and Zeke. They talked a little bit about what we look like in that first preseason game versus what we look like in practice every day. And I do think it's important to put things in perspective, so I'm going to let them talk a little bit here, and then we'll get back to it. I'm going to move my face back here to a reasonable viewing point. So let's hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even say this. I mean, what I felt like I saw in that Seattle game was a lot different than what we have been seeing. And again, I think that's by design. Pete actually referenced that in the call yesterday after the game. He kind of announced, or he said that, hey, we're not trying to show our hand too early, right? So Pete said that straight out of his mouth, and I think that's a real thing. But I think they're taking that to heart very, very seriously. I think what's happening is just off of one game, and obviously we have two more coming. But I think what's going to happen in these preseason games is these guys are going to get their reps in, they're going to get their work in. But I think they want to catch some people by surprise. I really do, and I think what that's going to mean is I think these preseason games they're going to be a little bit of a mess. I don't know how to say it, but that's by design. That way, hey, when week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 comes, those teams are caught off guard basically. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. But these guys, they look right on schedule from what we saw today. I was impressed. I can't say it enough.
Okay, so obviously this isn't rocket science to say it's vanilla, right? However, I do think especially on the offensive side of the ball. They are going to get so creative with how they get Brock Bowers and Dante Thorne involved, but also with the run game. They're going to be pulling a lot. There's going to be a lot of 12 personnel, pitches, jet sweeps, Geno outside the pocket. And right now, the continuity along the offensive line is just not there yet. We've got people playing different positions, learning new schemes, and continuity within an offensive line is probably just as important as having guys that are at their highest skill level playing at the offensive line. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, we're going to look shitty in the preseason because that's by design. But I don't think that's what Zeke was saying here. I think he's saying they're so confident in the offense and what they're able to do that we're pulling back the reins on everything we want to show people because we want to surprise people a ton. Again, not rocket science, but if you watch some of these games that are being played, I was watching the Dolphins and the Bears today, Sunday, when this was posted. And by the way, if you join my YouTube memberships or my Patreon, you get this video days in advance. You get all these other perks. And one lucky new YouTube member is going to win $100. All you have to do to enter to win that contest is just join up on my YouTube membership. We're running that contest for 100 members to join or up until week 1 kickoff September 2nd. So you can join that. Link will be in the description below, or you can click the join thing right here. I was watching the Miami Dolphins, and they were running a lot of motion, a lot of jet sweep, a lot of Tua faking one way and throwing another way, and double reverses. They were running a different shade, maybe not the black and white version of their offense, but they're running a pretty gray version of what they're going to be running this season. And some people are like, look, you know what we're going to be running, so we're just going to run it. Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa, Devon Achane, they all played, and everybody knows the offense are going to run, so they were running it. Nobody knows what this Chip Kelly offense is going to look like. He ran a different offense at Oregon, that he ran in Philadelphia, that he ran in San Francisco, that he ran in UCLA, that he ran in Ohio State. They were all different. He went from the fastest offense in the league to the slowest offense in the league from the time he was with the Eagles to the time he was with Ohio State. So there is precedent to say, we don't know what this offense is going to look like. The only thing Geno Smith is willing to say about it is explosive and efficient. And that's like the words that they gave him to say, like he's not trying to spoil a Marvel movie or something. That's all he'll say. He said it multiple times. Again, doesn't excuse missed tackles, right? But what I will say is a lot of the mistakes the offensive line and the defense made on film, not all of them, but a lot of them, were errors in miscommunication, and that's all built on continuity, right? That's all built on playing as a team, and that was the first time this group of guys has played together. It takes a long time to mesh, right? You saw those Gruden, Derek Carr eras, 4-12, 7-9, 9-7, or 8-8, 10-7 makes the playoffs. You have to build chemistry. Another reason why I'm a little skeptical on saying, yeah, we're just going to win 11 games. 9 feels closer to me. That's right in my head than 10, 11, or 12. I do think we just need to build that continuity like I've been saying. However, or not however, but also, I do want to talk a little bit about this, and I really have to say that I was wrong about this signing, because when we signed Jamal Adams, I wasn't very excited. They moved him to linebacker. I said, okay, interestingly enough, he's absolutely balling out. After an amazing performance, amazing is strong, after a really solid performance in that preseason game, he's been balling in practice. Levi Edwards says Brock Bowers almost came away with a one-handed grab in the end zone, but Jamal Adams dropped back to deflect the pass. Prez, which is what Jamal Adams goes by on Twitter, might be back for real. I actually am buying stock in Jamal Adams making a huge impact on this team. The biggest knock on Jamal Adams recently, as you know, he's been playing safety the last few years, is number one, he might have lost a step. That happens when you're a physical, 3-down defender. And then he can't stay healthy. And there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to stay healthy now. But what I can guarantee is that he's going to be a significantly better linebacker than what he was as a safety these last few seasons. And again, this linebacking core that coming in, we lost Spillane and we lost Diablo. Now with Jermaine Pratt, a Landon Roberts, and Jamal Adams, and who else am I forgetting? Is it a Tommy Eichenberg? I think I'm forgetting one more person. Devin White, I don't know. We'll see how Devin White is. But now with those three guys that I mentioned before, Tommy or Devin, that's going to be a strength of the defense. It might be the best unit we have other than Polamalu and Jeremy Chin, because we've seen the corners have a little bit of work to do. Stokes, Porter, and DCAM specifically have to do a better job of setting the edge. But this is what the preseason is for. You have to make sure that you are willing and able to put the young guys out there in the preseason to make mistakes, right? It is what it is. We didn't play well. You could react one way or another, but how do you fix it? How do you coach them up to play better? We're off tomorrow practice-wise, and we've got the joint practice on Thursday. We've got padded practice Tuesday, Wednesday. We have the joint practice on Thursday, I would imagine. And then they're off Friday, or it's walkthrough. And then Saturday is the preseason game. Pete Carroll also said, we're playing our starters a ton in that preseason game, and I'm all for it. Obviously, knock on wood, you don't want anybody to get injured, but I love the idea of playing preseason. And I think the league is kind of turning back the clocks on our stance on playing guys in the preseason. Tua played, Joe Burrow played. Who else did I see out there? Patrick Mahomes always plays. Kyler Murray played. Justin Fields and Jordan Love both played. Like, a lot of people played. Caleb Williams didn't play, interestingly enough. I think Ben Johnson was like, I can't deal with him playing bad right now. If he plays bad right now, I don't want to deal with this. I will say this. I'm expecting us to look more cohesive offensively. Defensively, I don't know how to gauge what we're doing against the 49ers because the 49ers didn't play their starters in their first preseason game. I don't know if you guys saw that first preseason game between the Broncos and the 49ers. The 49ers 2s beat the Broncos 1s. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword here, a Sophie's choice, if you will. If the preseason really matters as much as people are saying for us, then what they're saying is the Broncos 1s are not as good as the 49ers 2s. I'm on the side of none of this really matters, save for some individual matchups, some game film for some quarterback reads for Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell, some competitions at guard, and being able to build a cohesive unit. But if you want to say it matters, I don't know, Mac Jones looked a little bit better than Bo Nix. So make of that what you will. But if we circle back to Jamal Adams here for one more second, the most recent example of a safety changing its position to linebacker and really working out is Deion Buchanan in 2014/15 for the Tampa Bay Bucs. So in 2014, he came into the league as a safety. And that year, he had 83 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble in 16 games. The next year, he transitioned from safety to inside linebacker. This is a stat line the next year. 112 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 passes defended, and 1 interception returned for a touchdown in 16 starts. I'm not saying that Jamal Adams is going to return to his all-pro form, but if he can give us 80% and just bring that energy, again, it feels like Jonathan Abram with a lot more skill, right? I think Jamal Adams could be huge for this team, and it also is great to have a veteran presence for DCAM and Porter and Polamalu and Tommy to lean on. I think that could be absolutely huge for us. So I do need to just mention really quickly, I need more voicemails. I need more questions. 725-253-0264. Call the number day or night. You'll hear me in what's that called? Answering machine form. Ask any question you want. I'm going to be answering it this week during one of my call-in shows. If you become a $5 patron or if you join my YouTube membership, you can call in live and talk to me at any time you want. I'm going to stake my reputation on something right now. And I've thought a lot about this. And sometimes I stake my reputation on things and they work, and sometimes they don't. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, we are going to look like a pretty good team this year. I don't know if it's going to translate to a lot of wins. But over are the days that we look really bad and sloppy. Now, week ones are weird. You have to remember this. Joe Burrow lost to Jacoby Brissett week 1 last year. The Bengals lost to the Patriots. There's a reason they didn't make the playoffs. So who knows what week 1 is going to look like. There's going to be nerves. There's going to be, 10 a.m. body clock. There's going to be, people that have to mesh together to be a unit. And the Patriots are going to be dealing with that too. The only advantage they have is that they have home field advantage, right? Other than that week 1, which could be all over the place, I think week to week we are going to progress. And by the end of the season, we're going to win games and we're going to look a lot better than we did in the beginning of the season. And I think this offense is going to surprise a lot of people. Now, the defense is an area of concern for me, no doubt about it. I'm afraid that Max Crosby is going to have to do it all on his own again, and that's really unfortunate. Good thing we signed him to a long-term deal so he won't get traded. But as far as the offensive line is concerned, I'm actually not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about the protection. I'm not concerned about 12 personnel. I'm not concerned about who's playing center or guard. I'm not concerned about Ashton Jeanty. I think I chalk all that up to miscommunications, us not meshing together, and us needing to build a cohesive unit on the offensive line. Defensively, I'm concerned. Offensively, I'm not concerned at all. I don't want to get into a shootout with the Chiefs, but so be it if we have to. So look, those are my thoughts right now going into week 2 of the preseason. Let me know what you think. Shout out to my patrons and my YouTube members. Like I said, if you want to enter that $100 sweepstakes, which is basically a free year of the membership, all you got to do is click that join button below. If you're watching on mobile, I don't think it pops up, so you got to go desktop. Hit that like button. Subscribe. We are pushing to 14,000. It's going to be tight, but I think we can get it done. Please be sure to subscribe. It's free after all, no charges to you. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time.